The 1970s were a groovy time for American snack foods. It was an era of experimentation, bold flavors, and packaging that practically glowed in the dark. While some snacks from that decade have stood the test of time, many others have faded into obscurity, living on only in the nostalgic memories of those who grew up during the disco era. Today, we're taking a delicious trip down memory lane to explore the forgotten snacks that defined 1970s America. From strange cereal combinations to candy bars that disappeared without a trace, these treats tell the story of a decade that wasn't afraid to try something different. So buckle up, because we're about to rediscover the tastes that made the 70s so unforgettable. Let's start with candy bars, because the 1970s were truly the golden age of chocolate innovation. One of the most beloved forgotten treats was the Marathon bar. Not to be confused with the British Snickers, the American Marathon was a braided caramel rope covered in chocolate that measured a full 8 inches long. Introduced in 1973, it came in a ruler-printed wrapper so you could measure just how much candy you were getting. Kids loved the challenge of eating it without getting caramel everywhere, though that was nearly impossible. Sadly, the Marathon bar was discontinued in 1981, unable to compete with the shorter, chunkier candy bars that dominated store shelves. Then there was the 7-Up bar, which had nothing to do with the soda. This unique candy bar was divided into 7 sections, each with a different filling: cherry, orange, coconut, caramel, fudge, jelly, and mint nougat. It was like a variety pack in a single bar. The 7-Up bar actually predated the 70s, having been around since the 1930s, but it finally met its end in the late 70s as manufacturing costs became prohibitive. Who could forget Reggie Bar? Named after baseball legend Reggie Jackson, this peanut and caramel candy bar in a chocolate coating launched in 1976. During the 1978 World Series, Reggie bars were famously thrown onto the field at Yankee Stadium in celebration. Despite the celebrity endorsement, the bar couldn't maintain its popularity and was discontinued in 1982. The 1970s breakfast table was a wild place, filled with cereals that today would seem absolutely bizarre. Take grins and smiles and giggles and laughs, for example. Yes, that was actually the full name of a cereal from 1976. It featured smiley face-shaped pieces that were supposed to make breakfast fun. The name was eventually shortened to just Smiles, but even that couldn't save it from cereal obscurity. Freakies was another wonderfully weird cereal that defined the decade. Introduced in 1972, it featured cartoon characters called Freakies who lived in a tree and loved their cereal. The mascots had names like Boss Moss, Goody Goody, Cow Mumble, and Ham Hose. The cereal itself was nothing special, just sweetened corn puffs, but the bizarre marketing made it memorable. Kids collected the characters, and the cereal developed a cult following before disappearing in the mid-70s. Vanilla Crunch deserves a mention too. This cereal from 1974 was essentially Quaker Oats' answer to Captain Crunch, featuring a vanilla flavor instead of the original's corn taste. It came and went so quickly that many people today have never heard of it, making it a true forgotten treasure of 70s breakfast culture. Moving from sweet to savory, the chip aisle in the 1970s was equally innovative. Frito-Lay's Kugel was a flavored peanut spread that came in chocolate, vanilla, cinnamon, and banana varieties. While not technically a chip, it was marketed as a fun snack spread for crackers and bread. The name, Kugel, supposedly came from the sound kids made when they ate it. Despite creative marketing and unusual flavors, Kugel couldn't compete with traditional peanut butter and disappeared by the end of the decade. Screaming Yellow Zonkers was a snack that perfectly captured the psychedelic spirit of the era. These buttery glazed popcorn treats came in a distinctive black box with wild graphics. The name alone was enough to grab attention on store shelves. While Zonkers had actually been introduced in the late 60s, They reached peak popularity in the 70s before gradually fading away. The brand has seen occasional revivals, but nothing like its original run. Bacon-flavored products were huge in the 70s, and bacon thins were at the forefront. These crispy crackers actually tasted remarkably like bacon and were perfect for snacking. While the brand still technically exists in various forms, the original 70s formulation and marketing are what people remember most fondly. No discussion of 70s snacks would be complete without mentioning the drinks and desserts that defined the era. Space Food sticks were perhaps the most futuristic snack imaginable. Marketed as nutritious food in stick form, these chewy bars came in flavors like chocolate, peanut butter, and mint. They were supposedly based on food developed for astronauts, though that claim was somewhat exaggerated. Kids loved the space-age appeal, and parents appreciated that they were reasonably nutritious compared to candy. Production ended in the early 80s, but Space Food sticks remain legendary among those who remember them. Funny Face Drink Mix was Kool-Aid's quirky competitor, featuring flavors with hilarious names like Goofy Grape, Choo Choo Cherry, and Rootin' Tootin' Raspberry. Each flavor had its own cartoon character on the packaging. The drinks were cheap, colorful, and turned kids' tongues bright shades of artificial colors. Some varieties had controversial names that were later changed, reflecting changing social attitudes. By the 80s, Funny Face had largely disappeared from stores. Jell-O Pudding Pops deserves special recognition as one of the most mourned discontinued snacks from the era. While they were technically introduced in 1979, they became a defining treat of early 80s childhoods. These frozen pudding bars on a stick were creamy, delicious, and far superior to regular ice pops. When they were discontinued in the early 2000s, despite various attempts to bring them back, nothing has quite captured the magic of the original pudding pops. The forgotten snacks of 1970s America tell us something important about that era. It was a time when food companies weren't afraid to experiment, when marketing could be weird and wonderful, and when kids had an incredible variety of treats to choose from. Many of these products failed not because they tasted bad, but because the market became more competitive, manufacturing costs rose, or consumer tastes simply changed. Today, these forgotten snacks live on in internet forums, nostalgia websites, and the memories of those who were lucky enough to try them. Some have inspired modern recreations, while others remain firmly in the past. But whether it was a marathon bar that seemed to last forever, a bowl of freaky cereal, or a refreshing glass of Goofy Grape Funny Face, these treats shaped childhoods and created memories that last a lifetime. So the next time you're in the snack aisle, take a moment to appreciate the wild variety available today, and maybe spare a thought for all those groovy snacks that didn't make it out of the 70s. They may be gone, but they're definitely not forgotten.